We are talking Whisper of the Witch, or at least that's just the English translation of this Russian horror movie. What is the story? Well, it focuses on this old dark house deep in the woods. And in this house there seems to be some type of dark spirit. And it's channeled through this particular kind of music box, I guess you would call it. It's actually like an early sound recording device. I've forgotten what they actually called it in the movie. But we have, at the beginning of the movie, we have these kind of group of teenagers kind of go in and to this house, and there's this presence there, and one of them gets killed. And the rest of them seem to be affected by this spirit. And then we have the the generation before, so to speak, who kind of have had some experience with this, try and maybe overcome this kind of dark presence, maybe this kind of witch. And we learn that this spirit has ill intent and is after their lives and the souls of innocent victims. What will happen? You'll have to watch the movie and find out. So let's discuss. So I've reviewed a few Russian films on the channel here, and they tend to be a little bit sort of similar in their tone. Normally little to no humour in them, quite slow-paced movies, but very well produced, and normally has like very good cinematography, or at least the ones I've reviewed here. And this movie is very much of that template. You know, it's some really nice cinematography in this movie. It's such a well shot film, and you know, we have these great locations and kind of set design and stuff. This fantastic gothic looking kind of house in the woods, these dark misty woods, all look great. Even the kind of the residents of these of our characters, you know, they've got like basement with a kind of a trapdoor and things. It all looks kind of quite spooky and eerie looking. So the look of this film, much like many of the other Russian movies that we've talked about here on the channel, I think looks good. The general set pieces in regards to some scares, they're similar to what you've seen before, you know, figures walking behind you, things like that, glimpses of stuff in the peripheral. But I gotta say, it's done well, as you know, also. So yeah, I mean, the movie has some spooky sequences that are kind of quite well played, where we kind of see something. There's a few kind of like fake outs that kind of start rising the kind of the level of tension here. All pretty good. The movie has some interesting ideas in regards to, I mean, it's somewhat of a generic plot, admittedly, but nonetheless, I do think there is some like a curse sort of thing. How are this kind of group of people going to be overcoming this this curse which seems to have gripped them, and what can they do to kind of overcome it? How can they defeat this kind of supernatural entity which has kind of got its claws in, so to speak? So there's an element of trying to kind of figure it out, and that, so we have a little bit of a mystery involved about, you know, what's actually kind of led up to this. So it does have somewhat of an intriguing plot. I think sometimes with foreign language movies, you know, the acting is a little bit hard to judge, as I've mentioned a few times, but it seemed to be fine. I guess it depends if you're watching, you know, subs or dub, I guess. But, you know, just the physical acting and stuff all seems all pretty good to me. The level of VFX seems good. You know, that there's some quite well done, relatively subtle effects at times, but other times it's a little bit more overt. But it all seems kind of quite flawless in regards to its kind of presentation. So that's the whole thing with this. So I think the presentation is particularly kind of good. It does have some interesting elements to the story, and you know, just the kind of the technical elements are strong too. Maybe what doesn't work, I mean, it's very much like a cut and paste of other films that we've seen, especially coming out of Russia. The pace maybe is a little bit too slow for some. maybe it could have had a little bit more in regards to variety of kind of characters. Everyone kind of here seems kind of the same. There's some inflated drama with it, especially with our sort of teenager characters, where, you know, one's kind of trying to get like rude photographs of this girl with things like this, and that makes them run into this house and stuff. It's like, well, they maybe could have been better reasons and things. It seems a little bit flaky sometimes. The plot, the main issue here for me is the plot is constantly interrupted by loads of flashbacks, loads of kind of like fake out hallucinations, dream sequences, and things like that. The movie is constantly stopping and starting with these kind of, as I say, flashbacks, dream sequences, hallucinations. And you're thinking, my God, let's just get some forward momentum going in this movie. It's just way overdone. You feel like you watch like a few minutes of the kind of the linear storyline, and then bam, you're like, okay, there's another sequence about something. And I mean, a lot of films do this to a point, but this one seems to just overly do it. The actual kind of entity, this witch, this spirit, it's well done, but it wasn't especially spectacular, I have to say. It's much more in the case of, yeah, it kind of looks well done, but it's nothing especially like original looking or interesting. And even when we get our kind of main storyline, our modern storyline, the movie seems to be deliberately slow and plodding in places. Like, for example, we have sequences where, okay, how are we going to defeat this witch? We're going to burn this kind of music box, and then it doesn't happen, and then we're in that same scene again a little bit later on. Like, no, this time we're going to burn the music box. It's like, my God, like, you know, let's just push the story forward. This movie really kind of meanders at times. The characterization, I've got to say, is a little on the weaker side. I didn't really feel like you got to know the characters. It has quite sort of a cold open, to be honest, and I feel like you don't really get to know who these people are. You get to know snippets as the film goes on. There's sort of one guy, but yeah, I just didn't really feel like you were fully on board with the characters. It all seems somewhat superficial in regards to its characterization. Overall, this movie is a good looking movie. It has some good set pieces, but I think the story is a little on the weaker side, and its constant reliance on having to have these sequences, other than like dream sequences and things like that, and flashbacks, is really quite annoying. It's massively overdone. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. I do think there is some quality here on display, but it's maybe the post-production here was the problem, I'm suspecting. It looks like it's been edited a little bit, like the beginning's a little bit jarring because we kind of get straight into it. We're missing in sort of the character building. Yeah, it's just maybe the over-reliance on kind of flashbacks and stuff. 5 out of 10 for me. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.